It's always good to um, have Shabbat with our family and friends. Very blessed to have a community, um, include our daughter as well, and um, they've been under the weather, as it were, for a while. Thank you very much for the prayers and for the davening for me and my family. Um, Getting on the other side of it. So sometimes when you're in the hospital, you kind of lose track of time. Went into some dark places, but um, Hashem is there to bring us out. Hashem is always there. All it takes is a few words of Torah for a few words of encouragement, and it matters a whole bunch. So this particular story this week is attributed to a Frenchman in the 19th century by the name of Guy Maupassant. And when asking about his short story, he said he didn't really know. He said he basically, all intents and purposes, stole it from a Hasidic story. So, in a Hasidic rendering, all Hasidic movements come down from the Baal Shem Tov. So, I'll just attribute this story to the Baal Shem Tov. So, there is a woman in a nameless European city, and her name was Brunhilde. And Brunhilde was a lower middle class woman. Now, this is taken in the vein of, it seems to be French culture, this story that I'm reading, or the story I'm trying to pull the acidic parts out. So basically, this woman is a lower middle class. She's got barely a dowry. It's hard for us to, in our modern times, to understand um, dowries and how poor people um, were kind of limited on their choices. And from what I understand is that the family of the wife, the family of the bride, was basically providing a means to provide for the first year of marriage, because it's a very volatile time. Things happen, young couples, it's just a volatile time. So uh, the the groom's or the I'm sorry, the bride's family provides a means to say, this is a hard time, and here is some compensation for the difficulty. Um, I mean, people don't necessarily mesh, from the get-go. It's a process, we watch TV shows and movies where everybody has the love story, the Disney love story, and that's not necessarily how it works in real life. It requires work and things like that. But let me tell you the story of Brunhilde here. Brunhilde was she finally met a spouse who was able to take her on with the lack of her dowry, and so she was slighted with the desire for wealth, and um, the desire for wealth consumed her, and she was employed by a wealthy Jewess whose husband was a moneylender. And it puts them in a good light. It's not the Shylock. It's not a anti-Semitic trope. It's very positive in that how merciful they were to this woman. Anyway, she worked for this woman, and uh, being in her circle, she was able to see. She was a clerk for this woman, so she handled all her things she needed to do, her schedule, or working of her house, very similar to Joseph. But she saw the parties and the things that the baroness, the woman, the wealthy woman, was able to go to, and she wanted part of that. she desired to be part of the balls and the opulence of the upper echelons of high culture. And one time there was a state for a lower dignitary that came, and she was like, "Surely this is something that I should be able to go to." She asked the Baroness, um, if she would be able to attend with her as her plus one, as it were, as her attendant. And the woman said, that's fine, but you need to have a nice dress, and you need to have jewelry. You've got to have the right type of makeup. So the woman, her employer, we'll just call her the Baroness from intent for the story. So the Baroness basically said, "Look, you're my employee, and I love you, and I think very highly of you, and I'm very intimate with you, and I'm going to go ahead and let you borrow one of my gowns." And so she had a gown, and she noticed she didn't have any appropriate jewelry, and so the Baroness brought her to her bed chamber, and provided opened up her jewelry box. Very, you know, she was letting this woman have control, basically, of knowing where her treasures are. And she laid out all the necklaces and brooches and all sorts of, you know, finery that this woman had. And off to the side, she noticed that there was another bag, a bag that, in her mind, she thought, well, surely this has got the better jewels if it's set aside. So she looked inside this jewelry, this bag that was set aside, and she saw this beautiful, beautiful diamond necklace. And she was like, this is it. This is the necklace." So she went to the ball. She had a good time, and she couldn't bring her husband because he was lower middle class. He didn't look the part, so she went by herself, and everybody was commenting about how beautiful she was and how her necklace was beautiful. Um, and she got home. She put all her belongings to be washed, and to be able to be washed and go back to the Baroness. Inside the her dress included the diamond necklace. And when she was getting when she was getting the dress ready to be sent to the cleaners, um, or that she was going to clean, she dropped the diamond necklace to never be seen again. And when she realized the diamond necklace was lost, um, her shame kept her from telling anybody about it. She told her husband, but she didn't tell the Baroness. She never went back to work because she was afraid of losing. Well, she sent back through an emissary the dress, but she didn't mention the necklace, and she was ashamed. So she went to a local jeweler, and she explained what the necklace looked like. They came to find out the necklace was about 8,000 francs, and a huge amount of money. It might as have been 8 million or 800, million. It was a huge amount of money. And so her and her husband, over the next 10 years, did nothing. They didn't go to any parties. They didn't have their religious ceremonies. Christmas, they were Christians. They didn't do Christmas. They didn't go to any parties. They didn't do anything during this 10 years. And then they were able to, through 10 years of work and slaving away. They took several different jobs. So they basically worked from noon to night, neglected having a family. So they didn't have time for a family. And so when it came time to buy, they bought a new necklace, provided it to the Baroness, who was old in her years by this time. 10 years went by. And they presented the necklace to the Baroness. And the Baroness said, "Well, I appreciate you giving me this necklace. This is a beautiful, beautiful necklace. But what I gave you was paste jewelry. I gave you, you chose to go into the jewelry of the kind of throwaway jewelry." So she spent 10 years um, basically wasting her life away on a misunderstanding, miscommunication, misunderstanding. Um, and the Midrash is very opinionated and explains some things that some interpolations and some things that may have happened between the relationship between Yosef and Israel. And there's some things that make us question. Now, this is how it ties into this Torah portion. The similar stories that I was able to find apply to this Torah portion, and they applied in such a way in that Joseph, being the viceroy of Egypt for years and years and years and years and years and years and years, had the opportunity to send an emissary to his father. But the Midrash and the implications are that because of what Joseph did, and he explained in his dream that Israel was going to bow down to him, that Israel himself sent Joseph to be sent to Egypt. That it was Israel himself that did the damage. He cried out, "Is my father alive?" He doesn't know. He doesn't know. He doesn't know what happened because the Ismailite traders came and they sold him. And he's wondering, "You still didn't forgive me? You didn't sell me. You didn't purchase me. You didn't protect me. You didn't come and rescue me." You can hear the pain in his voice. Is my father still alive? And he sees the changes in his brothers, but at the end, he still we're wondering, you know, why he doesn't see his father. Even at the end, when he said, "Who are these people? Who are these people that I see?" This is the end, almost the end of uh, Israel's life. And he still hasn't seen very much of his grandsons. So there's still a lack of understanding. And then I think that Joseph believed that his father, Israel, Hasbe Shalom, was part of the plan to send uh, Joseph to Egypt. And it goes to show that misunderstandings um, should be addressed immediately. Right? If we have hurts or um, things that our brothers or sisters do to us, even though it's sometimes embarrassing, it should be addressed immediately. I can't tell you how many times I've seen situations in families where there's miscommunication in one generation, and it tries to go down, and people have even forgotten what the original offense was, and it goes down generationally, where nobody speaks to each other anymore. And so um, when Hashem, when you know that you've offended somebody, or when you try to get the whole story, because Hashem wants us to not spend 10, 12, 15, 20 years, even 5 minutes of our time wasting it on things that may not be true. So, Baruch Hashem, let's work out our own salvation with fear and trembling, and try to make our communication direct, and let us all try to settle conflicts like our holy brother Aaron. Baruch Hashem.